And there is good news. There are good things that are happening. Uh, now, Clinton says Republicans are going to steal the election. Now, I know this got you banned for the past couple of years for even bringing up those two words together. I know that you're not allowed to think it. I know that anything that you say about it could be used against you, but it's a new election season. And so now it's okay for Hillary Clinton to claim that Republicans already have a plan. And she says they have a plan to steal the 2024 presidential election. Um, she said right wing extremists already have a plan to literally steal the next presidential election, and they're not making a secret of it. The right wing controlled Supreme Court may be poised to rule on giving state legislatures the power to overturn presidential elections. Now, this is referring to a case involving the invalidation of North Carolina's congressional map by a state court. Case Moore versus Harper could give state legislatures more power in regulating elections for federal office. As a result, Clinton warned the upcoming presidential election could be decided not by the popular vote or even the anachronistic, I don't speak English, electoral college. Yep. But by Republican controlled state legislatures. A couple of things. That whole court case, hope that it happens. Hope that it goes the way we need it to. Why? Because what it does is it actually puts congressional mapping back in the hands of the state legislature.
Amen.
Right? More power to the states. And the fact that Clinton is against it makes me go, maybe we should vote for it. So now you can't vote for it because it's a Supreme Court case, but still push for it. What this will do is it actually puts a little more power back in the hands of the state legislatures to determine how they're going to handle their participation in the election process, which is fully constitutional. What has happened over the last century or so, a little bit more than that, some would argue since the founding, federal government has tried to consolidate power over federal elections. The whole system was designed that the federal government was just supposed to kind of keep the states together on the same plan. The states were supposed to have the power. This is why I'm so adamant about repealing the 17th Amendment. Because what the 17th Amendment did was, instead of your state legislature voting for your senators, it put it into a popular vote. Now, why does that matter? Your state legislature picked your senators, so therefore your senators were ambassadors to the federal government from the state. That means the state legislature had a voice, a strong voice in what was going on in the federal government, which was how it was originally supposed to be. The House was for the people of each state to be represented directly in the federal government. The Senate was supposed to be the representative body of the states, which all of a sudden means you've got several levels of representation, conflicting interests, which is good because it keeps the federal government in line. What the 17th Amendment did was it wiped out state legislature power over the federal government and instead put it back in the hands of the people, which is a very progressive, it was part of the whole progressive movement in the early 1900s, right? We saw the 16th Amendment, which, you saw a bunch of stuff happening during the early 1910s to 1920s, progressive crap. What it did was it said, oh, we're giving power to the people. But what it really did was just create another national, federal viewing of how government is supposed to run. It's so important for your state to have power and to have their hands in the whole thing. And so I say all the more power to the states to have a little more control over election. Now, my frustration is in the last election, the Supreme Court balked at hearing a grievance of one state about another, which is completely antithetical to the system. The whole point of the whole system was if these states have a problem, they come together to duke it out, and the federal government will be the arbiter. But they decide they didn't want to be a part of that whole argument. That's a problem. Texas should have been able to bring a lawsuit against Pennsylvania. And it should have been heard out in the Supreme Court. Because Texas is right. That federal election affects us, and we don't think you're following your own laws. Where else is Texas supposed to hear their grievance heard? You should be able to petition and to have your grievance heard. But they weren't allowed to. See, this is what I'm talking about, is states should have power in relation to the federal government.